When I was 15 years old, my mom bought me a set of drums from a pawn shop in downtown Phoenix, silver metal flake, and they came with a cymbal. By any standards, they were awful drums, but to me, they meant the world. I began playing for hours every day, no teacher, just records to play along with. How my mom put up with that racket is still an unknown. Perhaps she had earmuffs somewhere. From those days on, I have lived off creative endeavors, playing the drums, composing, photography, art, design, teaching, and writing. I create something every day. I will until my expiration date. I believe it's my right to make art. I believe it is your right as well. One thing I learned is that belief is behind everything. After 6 decades of making things, music, photographs, ads, businesses, plenty of mistakes, one truth has outlasted all come and go fads and trending philosophies. You have to believe you're the right creative for the job. Not in a cocky, chest-thumping way, not a fake it till you make it bullshit. I'm talking about a quiet, grounded conviction, a deep in the bones knowing you might not have the biggest Instagram following or the slickest portfolio yet. But if you don't believe you belong at the table, no one will pull a chair out for you. It isn't ego, folks. It's survival. Simply staying in the game. You know what's the hardest part? Getting started. The hardest step in a creative career isn't building a website or sending a pitch email or making cold calls on the phone. It's starting. Really starting. Not the dabbling, not the I'll get to it when, but the scary what the hell am I doing leap. From comfortable and safe to the mysterious unknown. From employed with a paycheck to freelance and a dream. From wishing to actually doing. When I was younger, was I ever younger? I thought the hardest part would be getting good. And whether it was hours of rudiments on the snare drum or figuring out how long to develop Pentatonic X in a 15-to-1 dilution of microdol, there were constant mistakes, missed marks, and disappointing results. But I persevered. What else could I do? Later, I thought the hard part was getting paid. And while that's still hard, it is more manageable due to years of tough experience. But the really hard part? It was believing I could make a life from my ideas. That somewhere, someone needed exactly what I could do. That I was right for the job, the assignment, the opportunity. If you don't believe that, your brain will work tirelessly to prove you correct. I mean tirelessly, with conviction and perseverance. Unfortunately, negativity is doubly strong when pointed inward. You end up focusing on the competition, the failures, the starving artist cliches. You'll find articles about industries collapsing and freelancers struggling. You'll remember every bad critique and every ignored email. Your brain, bless its little heart, just wants you to feel safe and happy. So it works overtime to build a compelling case for staying small, not trying, and pushing away opportunities. You say things like, nobody can make it in this business. There is no work out there. Well, they'll just use AI. My sister has a friend whose boyfriend's brother's uncle knew a woman who tried to do this and she failed. So why try? Well, you can train your brain to see differently. That's really good news, folks. That's really good news for everyone. You can change your brain. I believe I can do this. I believe I bring something to the table. I believe there are clients that need exactly what I do. And then you stay away from the Facebook groups where everybody's moaning and whining and crying about stuff that they're not even working on. You say it often enough and back it with action, and your brain will start proving that right. Your brain wants you to succeed in what you focus on. You'll notice opportunities. You'll notice wins. You'll start acting like a pro long before anyone gives you permission. That's what we call a shift. The moment when the real action happens. And you can act your way into confidence. You want to feel like a creative professional? Great. Start acting like one. Return the calls. Send the emails. Show your work, even if your hands are shaking. Create the leave behind. Build the website, even if it's version 1.0 and kind of clunky. Every time you act like a creative person you want to be, You reinforce the belief that you are becoming that person. You don't need anyone's permission to start. Perfection is procrastination in a tuxedo. Clients don't want the most talented creative. They don't want the best creative. No one even knows what that means. They want the right creative. Look, there's always going to be someone more technically gifted, more creative, more charismatic, more popular, more good-looking, just more. Their portfolios rock. But clients don't hire portfolios. They hire people. People they trust. People who can solve their problems. People who believe in their own work enough to show up, ready to go. That singular belief, I am the right creative for this project, radiates confidence, professionalism, and power. It shows up in your emails, your posture, your presentations. It's literally magnetic. Let me prepare you now for the next frightening question. What if they say no? Well, they will. Yep, plenty of times. You better expect it. You better toughen up, because you're going to hear no a lot more than you hear yes. But remember that every no puts you closer to the yes that matters. The only way to fail is to hold it all back. Creativity is a practice in courage. I've seen so many talented creatives stall out, crash, burn, and end up greeting new guests at Walmart. Their portfolios were great. They had a bit of charm and they wanted desperately to do the work. They really, really wanted to. But wanting isn't enough. Wanting anything is not enough. There has to be some sort of action to achieve it. And that action is grounded in the self-belief that it can be done. They lacked that belief. They waited for the world to validate them before they took the leap. That's not how it works. You leap first, then you build the wings. If you want to be a pro, act like a pro. Act like a pro before you feel like a pro. So here's my advice after 60 years in this creative endeavor. Start before you're ready, believe before you feel worthy, share your work before it's perfect, and act like the right creative until you realize you always were. I hope you like this presentation. I'll be doing more like this. Leave me a note. See you next time.